What is climate change? Climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns. Such shifts can be natural due to change in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruption.
Causes of climate change. As greenhouse gas emissions blanket the Earth, they trap the sun's heat. This leads to global warming and climate change. The world is now warming faster than at any point in recorded history. Generating power. Generating electricity and heat by burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas causes a large chunk of global emissions. Most electricity is still produced from fossil fuels. Only about a quarter comes from wind, solar, and other renewable sources. Manufacturing goods. Manufacturing and industry produce emissions, mostly from burning fossil fuels to produce energy for making things like cement, iron, steel, electronics, plastics, clothes, and other goods. Mining and other industrial processes also release gases.
Cutting down the forest. Cutting down the forest to create farms or pastures or for other reasons causes emissions, since trees, when they are cut, release the carbon they have been storing. Since the forests absorb carbon dioxide, destroying them is also limits nature's ability to keep emissions out of the atmosphere. Using transportation, most cars, lorries, ships, and planes run on fossil fuels that makes transportation a major contributor of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide emission. Road vehicles account for the largest part, but emissions from ships and planes continue to grow. Producing food. Producing food requires energy to run farm equipment or fishing boats, usually with fossil fuels. Growing crops can also cause emissions, like when using fertilizer and manure. Cattle produced methane, a powerful greenhouse gas, and emissions also come from packaging and distributing food.
Powering buildings. Globally, residential and commercial buildings consume over half of all electricity. As they continue to draw on coal, oil, and natural gas for heating and cooling, they emit significant quantities of greenhouse gas emissions.
Consuming too much. Your home and use of power, how you move around, what you eat, and how much you throw away all contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. So does the consumption of goods such as clothing, electronics, and plastics.
Effects on climate change. Warmer temperature over time are changing weather patterns and disrupting the usual balance of nature. This poses many risks to human beings and all other forms of life on Earth. Hotter temperatures. Nearly all land areas are seeing more hot days and heat waves. 2020 was one of the hottest years on record. Higher temperature increase heat-related illness and can make it more difficult to work and move around. Wildfires start more easily and spread more rapidly when the conditions are hotter. Loss of species. Climate change poses risks to the survival of species on land and in the ocean. This risk increases as temperatures climb. Forest fires, extreme weather, and invasive pests and diseases are among many threats. Some species will be able to relocate and survive, but others will not. More severe storms. Changes in temperature cause changes in rainfall. This results in more severe and frequent storms. They cause flooding and landslides, destroying homes and communities, and costing billions of pounds.
What are the solutions to climate change? Climate change is already an urgent threat to millions of lives. But there are solutions. From changing how we get our energy to limiting deforestation, here are some of the key solutions to climate change. The main ways to stop climate change are to pressure government and business to keep fossil fuels in the ground. Fossil fuels include coal, oil, and gas, and the more that are extracted and burned, the worse climate change will get. All countries need to move their economies away from fossil fuels as soon as possible. Invest in renewable energy. Changing our main energy sources to clean and renewable energy is the best way to stop using fossil fuels. These include technologies like solar, wind, waves, tidal, and geothermal power. Switch to sustainable transport. Petrol and diesel vehicles, planes, and ships use fossil fuels. Reducing car use, Switching to electric vehicles and minimizing plane travel will not only help stop climate change, it will reduce air pollution too.
Reduce how much people consume. Our transport, fashion, food, and other lifestyle choices all have different impacts on the climate. This is often by design, fashion, and technology companies. For example, will release far more than are realistically needed. But while reducing consumption of these products might be hard, it's most certainly worth it. Reducing overall consumption in more wealthy countries can help put less strain on the planet. Reduce plastic. Plastic is made from oil, and the process of extracting, refining, and turning oil into plastic is surprisingly carbon intense. It doesn't break down quickly in nature, so a lot of plastic is burned, which contributes to emissions. Demand for plastic is rising so quickly that creating and disposing of plastics will account for 17% of the global carbon budget by 2050. This is the emission count we need to stay within according to the Paris Agreement.